We continue our knowledge sharing mission through a series of interviews with marketing leaders from all over the world, and are thrilled to have Hans with us today.
Hi, my name is Hans, and I run and have founded Miota.
So first of all, Hans, tell us about your company. What does Miota really do?
Miota, which was only founded last year, is actually an association of experienced marketing leaders. Now, they are former CMOs of corporates and scale-ups and offer what we call marketing effectiveness frameworks. Miota was actually born from a very visible fact, which is that marketing has become more impulsive, irrational, also extreme over the past decade. So as a result, a lot of scale-up CMOs, CFOs, and managing directors have recently become unsure about how their organization's long-term effectiveness will look like, notably as expressed in their full company profit and loss, rather than only how successful their teams are in disseminating content on social.
Describe the most successful marketing campaign you've ever worked on, and why was it so successful?
About 6-7 years ago, when I was still working for a very large corporate, we put on a campaign that was in essence done in close conjunction with sales and the brand marketing of 12 countries in Central and Southeastern Europe. And it actually took as a vehicle presenting startups and their business models to a wider B2B audience, which was something rather unheard of in Europe at the time. It was occasionally found in the US, and this is also where we snapped the idea from. But we managed to actually take this out into 12 very, very different countries in Central and Southeastern Europe with a lot of cultural peculiarities. And initially, we were really unsure if this is going to hook up well with local audiences, but it turned out that we took an immense visibility from it across a much wider reach than we had imagined. And still to the very day, I think this was one of the most successful campaigns that I participated in designing.
Let's talk about marketing and events a little. So many marketing opportunities, especially related to events and event sponsorships, were no longer feasible last year due to the pandemic. What type of new event opportunities are there for marketers today?
Everybody knows and everybody has experienced over the past months the power that virtual events can have, but I see things flowing back a little to the realization that people can, in different ways than we knew this before from physical events, be turned off in their attention by the virtual event platforms that we have nowadays. Now, a couple of technologies help to contain that and to sometimes even turn this around. But what we see at the moment, and what I find really interesting, is that new types of physical events are currently being discussed. And the first of them are beginning to be rolled out just as we speak. And they involve keynote speakers in a different way than they used to be. They involve evidence, physical evidence in a different way than we knew from previous on-site meetings. And I'm really, really curious about it because I see a lot of movement in that space.
What do you think is the most exciting marketing trend at the moment? And how can marketers use it to achieve their goals?
I think the best marketing trend that I see currently is that what the industry is beginning to understand, and also what CEOs and CFOs are beginning to understand about their marketing leaders in the companies, is that virtually no company can function with solely relying upon performance marketing. Sales activation in principle, and only diminutive efforts very often found at PR and word of mouth. But all companies basically need a balance of both, of the brand building as well as the sales activation to really function.
And can you share any challenges you faced in the past or recently when it actually comes to organizing events?
The only real challenge was that it seemed that there were a lot of people who were resisting to using these platforms. We found usually other ways to keep them informed, and somehow we reached them. But now that it was necessary for them to join us, there was a bit of change management involved to actually get them fully into the groups, into the teams that we operated on. And I think this is something that we had overlooked in the past.
What's one piece of career advice you have received that's been particularly valuable to you as a marketing leader?
It typically goes back to one of my favorite sports, which happens to be surfing. As opposed to what people think of surfers, there is no such thing as a perfect wave. And that also is true for marketing. That's also true for any kind of leadership, really. If you have the right people, either because you developed them or because you got them into the team from the outside. And if you are willing to take on challenges the way they are put on your table and not in a way that is politically colored or looking at other things than making an internal customer or an external customer happy, then basically every wave is okay. no matter which lineup you're sitting in, no matter how the weather is and who's watching. That's essentially my takeaway for a lot of the marketing work that I do and also for leading people.
So I think that brings us up to a close. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I look forward to our next catch up.
Thanks very much.